Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Point of View. I am Bobby Munson, and as always, going to be doing some gaming on the channel here, but the live viewing audience gets to pick the direction of what we're talking about. And speaking of the direction, I am going to mention that if you're listening in right now, I believe at some point in time, my good buddy Ed Fries is going to be dropping by the show to talk a little bit about his experience over at Chaotic Wrestling on Friday night. So looking forward to hearing more of that from Ed later on. Basser, good morning. How are you doing, brother? Thanks for coming by the show. How has your weekend been in this horribly frigid, cold death trap we call Saskatchewan? Melball, good morning. Says good morning, Mr. Money Months, and good morning to you as well, too, Melball. Again, I asked you the same thing as just how cold it has been here in Western Canada this week. How are you surviving this brutal weather that we are having at the moment here? I believe the brutal weather is kind of going hand in hand all around the globe right now, though, too. I believe a lot of people, maybe not cold, but they're experiencing a lot of different horrible temperatures all throughout and different types of things. Mel is freezing her lady balls off. She says that, yeah, I mean, it is awful. I don't know. Like, we're used to cold out here, but this is just beyond right now. I think minus 36 or 7 that we got to yesterday. That's before the wind chill, of course. It's yuck. So, Mel, I believe that you and Andre had a New Japan Pro Wrestling show to watch yesterday. How was it? I heard of one of the new additions, or somebody who showed up there last night. We found that out towards the end of our stream, that Mustafa Ali might have made an appearance last night. It's offensive how cold it is. 2 hours at the gym almost kills my car. It is ridiculous. Like, even when the vehicle's plugged in, you got to monitor them and take care of them right now, because it's rough out there. Horrible. Horrible. All right, we got to watch for Yoshi here. Where did he go? I think he's far left. I'm going to try it. No, I'm wrong. Oh, I suck. He went right to the right. Damn you, Yoshi. Some interesting debuts at New Japan Pro Wrestling, hoping that the feud can give both some character. I mean, last night was a cool night in general for people showing up on wrestling programs, because, of course, Nic Nemeth also showing up at TNA's Hard to Kill there, which was a nice surprise to a very strong card as well. So if anybody hasn't done so, go check out the post show that I did with Asher Pizarro last night. It was great. Not only the show was great, but then we're having this stream go off, and the wonderful folks over at Get the Tables sent a raid over Ashford's way. So we had a massive viewership last night for the post show. It was awesome. Very awesome. Oh, I let my guy die there, I see. No, we don't want special. We want... No. Uh-oh. I used the special anyway. Whoops. That was stupid. Oh, yes. And the incredibly talented and naturally beautiful Ash, hold on, Melball, it's Ash by Excellence. That was Ash by Excellence. That's fantastic. I mean, I don't know. I think it's humorous, personally, but we'll see how she does. I mean, again, she brings a name to TNA. I mean, for better or worse, people know who she is. So I think that it might just help TNA, and guess I'll find that out very soon. All right, now all these idiots are recovered. Now we can start trying to kill these things again. Yes, this stream today brought to you by Ash by Excellence. All right, these guys are going down. This fight is mine. I missed? Come on. Come on. That's pathetic. All right. I still won, though. That's all that matters. 11 experience. Ooh. Gino's almost at a level up. Needs it, too. Mel saying, I barely knew she was in WWE. I knew Aaliyah more than Dana. And Dana's been there quite a while, so that's kind of wild because there was quite a few years. I mean, so was Aaliyah, really. I mean, just Dana was on the main roster for a long period of time. In fact, I believe she was kind of running around the main roster. That would have been 7-8 years ago, even possibly, too. So it was there for quite some time. So what was the match that you just can't miss there from last night's New Japan show? Like, I'm sure there was a lot of them, but if there was like one in particular that you could recommend to everybody that they have to see, what would be the one? Oh, my kitty's trying to give a recommendation, apparently. God, this little Gino twerp has like no ability to do anything. What a loser. Don't know that I need to. Let's see. Let's just do regular fireball. Only this game might be almost done anyway. Oh, I should have known better. Of course, resistance to a fireball. Made of fire. You know you're having a dumb moment when. All right, we need this. Done. All right, so each had something exciting to take in, but definitely check out the tag champs match with ELP and Hikalu. Did I say that right? Hikaleo? Something like that. Those two have been fired since joining forces. Okay, great recommendation. We'll definitely have to check that out. Oh, this fight looks like it's going to hurt. Come on, somebody pack a punch. There we go, Mario. Way to step up to the plate. I got those symbols now as a weapon for Malo. Now he actually feels tough. Oh my god, they're just destroying Gino again. Hikuleo. Okay, Hikuleo. Thank you. Just like in a dictionary. I love it. All right. Item. Mushroom. Man, this Gino guy's using up all my special stuff. Heading to the gym now. Have fun at the gym. Stay warm if that's even possible. Take care. Have a nice day. Double my experience. Oh, where's the Yoshi? Far right. Oh, it's a tie. It's a tie. All right, level up for Gino, though. He needs it. Jesus. This guy's a wuss. Yeah, you're getting hit points, bud. You need them. You're getting walloped out there. Hey, who are you? Apparently this guy's going to sell some hidden mine treasures. Where the hell did I just jump into? Oh, there's a thing there. Okay. Oh, we're going bouncing. Here we go. Oh, what did that do? Apparently gave Mario a horrible headache. That's what it did. Oh, who's this guy? Beautiful coins. Grab the coins. You don't grab any coins. I don't think so, pal. Took our coins. We'll get those back. Kitty, what's your problem? While we chill here and do this, see what great music that we have here backed up into our StreamYard here. Here we go. Let's check this out. Oh yeah. Ed coming in here. Hold on, Ed. I got to make the setup change here quickly. We will add an item, camera slot. All right, saving, update. There we go. There's Ed. How you doing, Ed? We'll turn off the rock music now that I've got some company.
It's all good. We can have rock music on.
Hold on here. We got a couple of friends in the chat here. Ahmad coming in. The thing with Jack Perry going on to New Japan is weird. Am I the only one that thinks that was a botch? I didn't even know about this situation, Ed.
Yeah, so I've been reading up about this. Apparently at the New Japan show last night, Jack Perry showed up and in the ring tore up his AEW contract. He has an armband that says scapegoat.
Wow.
I think it's all a play. AEW and New Japan have a good working relationship. New Japan would never do this if they thought it was going to hurt their working relationship with AEW. Just saying, there's no chance AEW would do these. They are not one of the Mexican promotions. They are not the Mexican promotions. They would not do this if it was going to potentially ruin their relationship with another program.
Fair enough. And we got Andre up in the house. Said it happened last night. He attacked Umino and ripped the contract. And then he's saying, it's Ed. Of course it's Ed.
It is Ed.
And for a second there, I thought that was a Starmie.
I thought you were playing Pokemon too. I thought that was a the Starry Pokemon too. I don't know what it's called.
No, I've been on this kick of playing the Super Mario RPG reboot here on the Switch.
I had no idea they had an RPG until I saw you playing it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, this was originally released on the N64, and it's been redone for the Switch recently with a couple of added features to it. Then a friend of ours lent it to me over Christmas here, so I'm trying to get the most out of it before I return it back.
There you go.
Yeah. So, Chaotic Wrestling, was it that you saw on Friday?
It was indeed Chaotic Wrestling.
I want to hear all about it.
I mean, it was a good time. It was the first time I'd been to an indie promotion since the pandemic. So we're talking 3+, almost 4+ years now since I've been to an indie show. Fantastic time. Had a blast. I've been watching so much highly produced, high level, talent wise wrestling shows lately with, watching NXT, watching WWE, picking and choosing matches to watch from New Japan or CMLL or AAA, things like that, that you only see certain things when it comes to the wrestling business nowadays, when you watch high-level televised wrestling promotions. The one thing that you forget when you go to your first indie show in a while is that that's not what you're going to see when you go to your local indie promotion.
Not at all.
And so, I mean, I've shown a couple of the pictures to some of the chat, and in our Discord chat, I've shown some pictures. I mean, it's 100 people, maybe more. 3 rows on 3 sides of the ring. It had 3 rows. On my side of the ring, it had 2. And then they had a balcony on top of us for standing room only. So we're talking 100, 125 people at a sellout, which they did. They sold out all the seats. There were a couple of people who didn't show up. But for the most part, if there was a seat, there was a person. Nice. Which is always a good sign when you go to an indie show.
Yeah.
But there's something different in the energy of an indie show. There's something... I know I'm preaching to the choir with Bobby Munson, who... as for those that don't remember, helps out with Prairie Pro Wrestling every month on all of their shows, does commentary with the Papa Smokes, the Golden Voice, Papa Smokes. Oh no, the Angelic Voice.
The Angelic Voice, yes.
Golden Voice is somebody else, a good friend of ours.
There's an actual funny story behind that nickname, by the way, too.
Oh, is there? We'll have to find that out at some
point. We'll get to that eventually.
But no, so it opened with an intergender match, which again, somebody who coming from WWE doesn't see very often. I don't see much intergender wrestling. Thought it was a good time. It also reminded me that the crowd on an indie show is often sometimes a little bit more, shall we say, colorful.
Yes, they are.
Than at a WWE show or something like that. We had one guy about 4 people over from me referencing how the actions in the ring were attributed to a type of clothing that the male wrestler might have been wearing, and we'll let that kind of decipher itself through, and if you get it, you get it. If you know, you know.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And that moment right there reset my mind as to indie show. No more WWE. Don't expect WWE. Don't think about WWE. Just enjoy what's going on in front of you. Which was great. Shannon Levangie coming out. Also, music. I forgot that at indie shows we get real music.
Yes, you do.
Because they don't give a shit if they use real music. And the first person comes out to Ollie Burz's Troublemaker. Because she is the Troublemaker. Just fantastic. While we're doing this, Asad Smile says, he also did the Viper GDT. What is your thoughts on him doing Randy Orton's move on the bear? I mean, wrestling is about stealing moves. There's nothing new in the world of professional wrestling almost ever. The thing's been going on for over 100 years. Like, there's almost nothing new under the sun when it comes to the wrestling business. Whether it be storylines, whether it be moves, whether it be anything. Like, there's very often is there something new created. And when there is, it's quickly adapted on and stolen by somebody else. So him doing a draping DDT. And Randy's not the first person to do a draping DDT. He's just known for it.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, how many people were doing DDTs in general because of Jake the Snake Roberts? And Jake wasn't the first to do a DDT as a finish either. He just made it the best finish because WB made sure that he does DDT, he wins match.
Which is called protecting a finisher, which is always great to see. And that's what I like. And I mean, the fact that Orton has made such a simple move become something that's, worldwide known as the RKO is a testament to the career of Randy Orton in general.
Yeah, I mean, people forget Diamond Dallas Page did the exact same cutter that Randy Orton did. But Orton has taken it to an art form, whereas DDP, And by the way, DDP used to be, you would hear on commentary from Tony Schiavone and others that he could hit that move in any position in any way. The only difference with the way that it's described with Randy versus the way it's described with DDP is that Randy Orton hits it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it takes on a life of its own. But it's nothing special. It's just a cutter. There have been about 17 million guys who have done cutters. But Randy's special. And by the way, this is not a shot at Randy. I think Randy's great.
Oh, no.
WWE, I know JBL used to say it as like a joke and a catchphrase. If you to get Randy over, if you would build the sports entertainer from the ground up, it would look like Randy Orton. He's not wrong. Randy Orton is exactly what almost any wrestling promotion could dream of having as a potential world champion.
Yep. He
has charisma. Now, he doesn't always turn it on, but he has the ability to be charismatic should he want to. He can talk on a microphone at a high level. Again, doesn't always do it, but can. He has in-ring skills that are comparable to any Hall of Famer, which nobody can argue. He is one of the best in-ring competitors in WWE in the last forever. And he's marketable. Like, he has a good enough looking face body to be the face of a company. He is exactly what any wrestling company should and can want from a competitor.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've hit everything right there. I mean, Orton has every bit that everybody's ever looking for, so why wouldn't you want him as part of your roster? But yeah, I mean, and again, that's why someone would question his finishing move being used is because of the fact that Randy is so damn good that he has made people know that that's his thing.
Yeah. But again, because of something like that, I mean, Randy doesn't care. Randy stole his finish from DDP. Like, Randy don't care if people steal his gimmick because he knows that even if they steal his shit, it's still not going to be as good as what he does.
Yeah. And the word stealing, it's I like to look at it as paying homage a lot of the times because these are the people that you adored as you got into the business or growing up and stuff. So then you want to do that finishing move to pay homage to your favorite wrestler.
And Jack Perry's of the age where he would have seen Randy Orton when Jack was a child.
Yeah.
Because Randy's been around that long.
It's weird.
It's scary to think about. Like as an older guy, it's scary to start thinking about the generation of talent coming up now are old enough to have been watching these talents when they were kids.
That's wild. Very wild, actually. Yeah.
While we're off chaotic for a little bit, we're talking about with Ahmad here. He says, "What are your thoughts on Nic Nemeth being in TNA?" Good. It's a good place for him. He needs to do everything and anything he can. Why not? Get yourself out there. Be on New Japan. Be on TNA. Be in AEW. Yeah. Be the most... I love the idea of being most wanted.
Well, look what it's done for Cardona. I mean, that's a testament to what it can do for your career. And that's the thing is, Nic Nemeth has never really had that. He has been so WWE for so long that he hasn't had these opportunities to go out there and really present himself to the world and, have those matches that he wants to have and be where he wants to be kind of thing. And I think it's great for him to be able to finally have these new opportunities. Even if it, like a full sign contract to TNA is still going to allow him the ability to go and do his thing and stuff like that. He's going to be allowed to still go do New Japan things and other independent company things, just like a Cardona does at the moment and makes a ton of money being able to do this stuff.
I mean, you say Cardona, we've got even bigger and better examples of that. What about Cody?
Yeah, that's true too.
Like the prime example of leaving WWE and becoming the biggest star in the world is Cody Rhodes, right?
Yep.
Like, I know Cardona's the guy who's done it and stayed doing it and making money doing that and not going back to the big promotions. I mean, he had, 2 matches in AEW, and other than that, he doesn't wrestle on what I would consider, I guess, okay, he had a big run in TNA. I was going to say he doesn't wrestle for what I consider televised wrestling.
Typically not.
Because I sit here and I understand you love your MLW. MLW is not televised wrestling because they don't have a television contract. And TNA barely counts as that, considering the fact that they actually have a TV contract, but I don't think anybody knows it.
They tried very hard, though.
Nick is doing great. And like I said, getting Downstate to do his new music, smart idea. Downstate's great. By the way, Downstate posting on answering a fan question on Twitter today, being asked if for alternate versions of Cody Rhodes in 2024, are you going to be able to use the song Kingdom? And they said, well, we got some paperwork on that this week.
Interesting.
Well, because Kingdom doesn't play in the music section of the generated jukebox music for the game.
Yeah.
Because Cody was such a late addition to 2K23 that they didn't get the rights to the song. So it's his theme song because it has to be his theme song. But when you start screwing with him, you can't use that theme song. Which is interesting. 2K24, we're expecting to get a confirmation announcement, and people expected to see live gameplay for the first time at the Royal Rumble.
That's usually typically how it is, though, right? That's when it tends to drop.
I've heard from a source that there's a community event on that Saturday afternoon that is an unlabeled community event where I would expect that news to come out.
And I could only take a stab at your source, and I won't reveal them.
I'm
pretty sure they're a reliable one.
I have many friends in wrestling media.
Yeah, and they are all credible friends too, so they know what's going on.
They are, but they are indeed. But no, I mean, that's not an unexpected thing. I think everybody knows there's a gaming event every year at the Rumble, whether it's 2K or not. There's always a gaming event. One of the other events I thought was very interesting that I heard about, but again, I'll leave that until Royal Rumble happens so this person doesn't get in trouble. But there's a very interesting event coming up at the Rumble.
Nice. The Royal Rumble looks great. I think it's
that Rumble card. Isn't it great how a Rumble card can have 3 matches on it as of right now, 4 matches on it right now, and we're all just like, yeah, it looks great. It looks great, but perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to watching it. We're going to be watching it at home here, just like we did with Hard to Kill last night up on the big screen TV. Have a little bit of fun. It was a good time. Royal Rumble's always a good time. I mean, even when the Royal Rumble's not great, it's usually kind of fun.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for a Royal Rumble to really be terrible. Morning, Astrid.
Friend Astrid Bizarro. Speaking of people going to wrestling media to the event, we've got our good friend Astrid Bizarro being at the Rumble this year. Hello, Astrid.
They're getting the best of the best.
Yeah. Second match on Chaotic, we had a triple threat for what they call their Panoptic Championship. It's a title that's mostly defended within the women's division, but there are some men who participate in it. But obviously those male participants are not their top tier males. They're some of their it's a different type of male division, male participation in that division. But there are some. And it's a fantastic division. I thoroughly enjoy it. They have some great stuff. Gabby Forza came out there in this match, and it was a delight to see her for the first time. I know Ashton says she's been trying to get her on Ashton Asks for a little bit, so hopefully that connection can happen. Got to Papa Smokes, the man with the house about earlier. Ashton put some kind of emoticon that StreamYard doesn't understand in the chat. Yes, Gabby the Nomi. That was a surprise. So I didn't understand the gnome thing. And so she came out and she calls herself the Gnome Warrior. So she has football pads, and then she takes happy birthday hats and tapes them on the pads to be the Road Warriors.
Really?
I was definitely Yeah, homie the know me. When Bear Bronson ever came out and started cutting that promo, I was like, what the fuck is going on? like I was lost with her. I can't wait to see her again because now that I know what's going on, because she was an absolute delight. Yes, she is incredibly fun. She does a spear. She calls herself Gnomeberg. Like, there's a whole bunch of fun in it. Awesome. Paris Van Dale was a delight and somebody I can't wait to see more of. Great prototypical shit heel, I would say, like this cowardly heel. So as the champion and the match starts, she goes ahead and before the match starts, she demands that the music stops and the crowd stands to give her the proper respect. Which of course almost everybody stays seated. And one of the other participants, Ariel, in this match, her tag team partner accompanied her to ringside, and he laid down on the ring apron to continue showing the disrespect to Paris Van Dale.
Awesome.
And of course, Paris then, not liking the respect that she's gained from the crowd, decided to start the match on the outside and let the other two go at it. And not until somebody was in a compromised position did she decide to start entering the match. But no, really fun. I enjoyed this match. It was great. All three girls worked real hard. Paris Van Dale obviously gets the sneaky win when one of the other people does a big deal. Oh, Bobby sees something on his side. I don't know what he sees.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. So I've got the Manchester United Tottenham game on the side here because, of course, I'm a big Man U fan. We have been having a horrible season, but our young 20-year-old striker, Rasmus Højlund, just scored in the opening 3 minutes of the match. We are up 1-0.
That's always a good start.
Yes. That makes me a happy Bobby.
Yeah, so, I mean, the triple threat was great. Ariel and her partner went ahead and beat down on the Noam after the match, which brought out her boyfriend and tag team partner, Bear Bronson, formerly Bear Bronson. Now he's Dirty Bulk Bronson, from what I understand.
It's a good name.
Yeah, I miss Bear Bronson. So apparently he's a local guy who's done this crew before. He cut a really great promo here. And by the way, he is the most must-see after all of this. Like, the person I have to see more of is Bronson now. Because I watched his stuff on the show, and I'm like, I have to see more of his stuff because I think he's fantastic. Cut a great promo. Talked about how he's been a champion in this place for everything except their world champion. And he happened to be in their special 6-man main event later on in the night. So... really fun time, really excited for him. I hate to say it, but I'd love to see him somewhere where I watch wrestling. Like, he's apparently signed to Ring of Honor currently, but for me that's not good enough. Like, I want him in NXT because I want to be able to see him on a weekly basis. I think he does something entirely different than like a Josh Briggs, who's their only big guy. But I think Bronson would do something completely different. But I don't think WWE's going to sign another Bronson, considering they already have Bronson Reed.
Yeah. Well, they would, and then they're just going to change the name.
I mean, they would, and they could, but I don't know. Like I said, it sounds like he's signed to a Ring of Honor deal. Hopefully he does something good over there with them and AEW. Hopefully that will be a nice place for him. Ashley here saying Gabby and Bronson together, love them. Yeah, they were fantastic. They were adorable in the ring. It was great. We had a couple of the matches, nothing uberly fantastic, but we're going to get here to the point of the show where me and Bobby are going to vastly disagree, even though we've already had this discussion. I think we now agree exactly with what's going on here.
Oh, I know what you're getting at.
We're not at the main event, but we are at the main event, the tag team, the main event. And my God, I was enamored. I was enamored with the music. I was enamored with the whole ring thing. I can post a clip, but Bobby's doing the gaming, and I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could. So I'm not going to. But I do have the clip of their entrance. I will post it on Twitter later. I think they're great. I loved the energy that these two brought. I think they are and this is where me and Bobby agree now, because Bobby, we all know Bobby doesn't like the main event. Long story short, Bobby's not a fan of the main event, and the reason why Bobby's not a fan of the main event is because they were on MLW. But I think you and I can both agree that their act, their gimmick, is perfect for the independents, but it is the perfect. Them and Orange Cassidy are the perfect epitome of what doesn't relate from the independents to televised wrestling.
Yes.
And while the main event may be hysterically fun and have a good time and pop an indie crowd big time like they did on our crowd loved the main event. I mean, until the other tag team came out, because the other tag team was, we'll get to them, but people loved the main event. It was basically two babyface tag teams going at it. But no, it was a delightful time. I thought they were great. Their in-ring work needs a bit of work, because unfortunately they hurt one of their tag team partners, one of their opponents in the ring this weekend, which is unfortunate. But, things happen. Mistakes happen. I try to be hysterically funny, but the main event is a good time. I thoroughly want to. The crowd chanted, "Please come back" to them after the match, so we're hoping to see them again.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing with independent wrestling, and you hit the nail on the head, is that certain things work on an indie level that don't relate to television wrestling, and you need to do some things differently on an indie level in order to pop a crowd or to change up what you're currently working with and stuff like that. You can't have match after match after match of like just pure wrestling on an indie card. You'll lose your audience quite fast. They want some high energy. They want some larger than life characters on their show, and the main event does work for that. Where I get lost in the shovel is I'm not overly a fan of the masked guy in the main event. I think that his tag partner is perfectly serviceable as somebody that would work in a middleweight division of some kind of scene like that, but as a team it has its shelf life on an independent level. Personally. Yeah, that's about it. Other than that,
I agree with you. I think Lion definitely has some work to do. I think his tag team partner is vastly more talented than him. And I think that Lion is, I don't want to say Lion's coasting, but Lion's a bit coasting off of his tag team partner. I will agree.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. But
Ashford saying she enjoyed watching Chaotic Wrestling on their Twitch channel, especially supporting ladies. Yeah, they had two women's matches. Well, they had two women in matches, I should say. Granted, they were at the start of the show, which I was a bit taken aback by, that they were both in the opening two matches, and then no more women the rest of the night. But it's an indie show to even have any. As you know, how hard it is to always have a women's match on an indie show is not the easiest thing to do in the world.
So I was actually having this discussion about that with Astrid last night, especially like from our end here in Saskatchewan. We have 0 female wrestlers in Saskatchewan. We don't have any living here. We don't have any currently training. When we have tried training some of them, they haven't made it or chosen not to continue with it, or whatever path they choose to go. So it doesn't happen very often. And so for the longest time, we had Zoe Sager here in Saskatchewan that would come down for the shows. Certain things didn't line up, and so for a while there she didn't come to shows, and then we ended up getting Taryn from accounting. And so last time out was the very first time in our history that we had 2 female wrestlers on our shows. So both Zoe and Taryn were part of the last PPW show, both in separate matches. So intergender matches get used a lot in professional wrestling on the independents, because when you don't have the female talent there, but still want to feature them, you don't want to necessarily just put on a women's match for the sake of putting on a women's match, because a lot of the time these, you know, the ladies out here have had these matches over and over with each other, and that they want those opportunity to work the intergender matches with the guys, and rightfully so. It gets massive pops. It's very well accepted here on the independent level, especially in our neck of the woods. I mean, people here love Zoe and Turn and love watching them go out there and, you know, smack these boys around.
Asher says it's even more than most companies to have two women in two separate matches. And yeah, I agree. Like I said, the opening intergender match was fantastic. It was fun. It was a lot of work. They put a lot of hard work in there. And I remember, I'll always remember this because I was watching a podcast from our former home, and there was an indie friend of ours, that was on the channels, the Goose. Yes, it's probably the first and only time that I'll ever mention the Goose in a positive. Yeah, the Goose. The Goose was doing a show with Gigi Ray, and he talked to her about her intergender wrestling and what she thinks of it, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And she was like, "I love intergender wrestling for one reason." And she explained it, and it's more of a technical thing than it is just wrestling the guys or being, you know, not wrestling the same person every night. And she goes, a lot of what I do is base related, that the person who she's working with has to base for her at a certain way. And she says a lot of the women can't do that because she's a high flyer, because she does certain types of moves.
Yeah.
And she says that the men can base so much better for her than for the women, that she prefers to wrestle the men because it allows her to be able to do more of her arsenal than being able to be lumped into a small set of moves that she can do.
And Gigi Ray's fantastic and can mop the floor with most of the guys out here anyway. So,
yep, she is in the reality of wrestling, which I'm praying means that we see her on NXT sometime in the near future, with that Booker T connection, as WWE's been sending some of the NXT talent to reality of wrestling. I'm very hopeful that means we'll see Gigi Ray in NXT at some point soon.
She'll be his personal ducky, quack, quack, shuck-a-duck, whatever he says.
Probably. I mean, that is probably what will happen. The Shucky Ducky Quack Quack Wrestler of the Week.
There we go.
In his Fave 5. But no. Fave 5 was an outdated reference when he did it on SmackDown. I don't even remember what it is now. Do you even remember what it is? What that reference is to?
Not at all.
AT&T Wireless, like for your cell phones, in the United States, used to have this plan that you could have what was called a Fave 5. And that you could call your 5 favorite people with no risk of anything with your cell phone minutes and things like that. And that's where the Fave 5 for Booker T came from.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I thought Chaotic did a very good job of utilizing women's talent on this show by having 4 women on the show, which is pretty impressive. Like you said, considering what you guys go through to get, 2 women in 2 different matches. They had a 3-way for women in all women, and then had an extra woman who participated in an intergender match.
Which is good though, because I mean they had the opportunity, they put them out there and everything like that. So that's what I like about the indies, and they'll give those opportunities where they're deserved.
But yes, the main event wrestled local. I don't want to steal from Joe Hendry, but local hero JT Dunn, one of the more beloved local wrestlers, JT Dunn, who's been in this company for a while. He's a fan favorite. He's a great heel. He's a great babyface. They just turned him babyface recently. And of course, his tag team partner, AC Baby, Ace Romero.
Oh, nice.
The only man in the world of professional wrestling that can make me look small. And I know this because I was standing at the barricade nearby him and I felt small. And they said he was 6'4", 350 pounds. And I went, how? How is Ace only 350? Because I'm north of that number. Like, I'm north of 350. And I look at Ace and I go, he a big old boy.
Yeah,
his new phrase is big boy season. And I was like, I just hope he throws off his t-shirt because I want that t-shirt because I feel like I could fit in that t-shirt. I mean, I have to wash it half a dozen times because it's Ace Romero, and that man is a large, like it's been saying, is a large man. You've seen him in MLW.
Yep. Yeah,
he's seen him in Impact. Like, he's not a small man by any stretch of the imagination.
No. And I mean, I've worked with a lot of wrestlers before too. You can tell the difference between a small wrestler and a not small wrestler. I mean, there's even ways we hold cameras a specific way depending on the height of the wrestler and stuff like that to make them appear bigger on screen.
What are your thoughts on Ace Romero, having seen him in MLW? Because I think he's a very talented big. I don't think he's not Vader talented as a big man, but I think he's more talented than people give him credit for. I
think as far as big guy wrestling goes, he is talented enough to hang there and be somebody that people pay attention to. He, again, when you mentioned the name in terms of an indie show, I mean, I think that's a great get for an indie show. It really, puts a big name on top of the card and everything like that, and makes people want to buy the tickets to go see him. Awesome. I mean, there's people in wrestling, like everyone assumes that every wrestler always has to be a top person. And I disagree with that analogy. I don't think everybody has to be a top person to be great in this business. A lot of people can take the route of being an enhancement talent or something along those lines kind of thing and still be fantastic in this business. And Ace Romero, I'm not saying he's an enhancement talent, but he can be that big boy talent that's there that can hang with the big boys and put them over and do his job quite well. And then also, top cards in these types of companies that put butts in seats.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we have Brian Carter saying, meh, he's fine.
I knew Brian wouldn't like him as much. Brian likes him about as much as he likes Speedball.
I get a kick out of eight because going back to something we talked about recently and that you recently talked about with me when I made a quick guest spot on Ring Respect Radio a few weeks ago. He reminds me of that old school, like Haystacks Calhoun, like big man does kind of fun stuff in wrestling ring thing.
Yep.
Like I said, I think of him when I look at him, I think of him as a less agile Vader. He does a lot of the kind of Vader type things, but he's not quite as nimble, fleet of foot as Vader was. But then again, he is substantially bigger than Vader. And for him to be able to do the things he does is quite impressive.
I 100% agree there, for sure.
But unfortunately, it looks like Ace picked up a bit of he picked up a knock of some kind in this match. Main event went ahead and they draped him on the second rope, and the little guy tried to jump over Lion. And the way Ace went down, he went straight down on one of his shoulders. And that was the end of Ace in this match. Unfortunately, you've seen enough of Lion to know. Does Lion often do rest holds?
No, not at all.
Lion did a rest hold at an indie show.
Oh, go figure. I didn't know he knew any.
That's not necessarily a good as an indie promoter, as an indie guy that's been at all these indie shows. When your talent starts doing rest holds in the middle of a ring, like it's going to a commercial break, it's not a good thing, is it?
It depends on the wrestler and the moment itself. Like it can be used as a quick moment for them to regain themselves and talk about he's a carnival act. The Haystacks comparison is exactly what he is.
And honestly, that's not a bad comparison. Like Haystacks Calhoun is especially in the UK is a beloved name in professional wrestling. While
my grandma loves Haystacks.
Well, it did there. Now, Bobby, you've been at 100% for a while here. Is there a reason why you're not doing anything with that 100%?
Yeah, I'm saving it. That's basically a special that I can call out if I'm in trouble kind of thing. That'll help me get something to win the fight. So I haven't really been at any sort of threat level where I felt I needed it at the moment. So I didn't want to waste it because it takes a while to build it up.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when it comes to RPGs, they're one of the games I actually am okay at. I know that I am terrible with a lot of games, but RPGs I do decently. So that's
We got Bobby Pacino in here coming in.
Bobby.
Hello, Bobby Stats.
How are you? I think Bobby pulled an all-nighter watching 2 wrestling shows last night. I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to have pulled that all-nighter watching TNA's Hard to Kill and then watching Battle in the Valley. By the way, Battle in the Valley is something I can't wait to get my hands on at some point from somebody to go ahead and watch that card, because I posted in the group. I'm like, this looks like a banger of a card.
Yeah, and from what I understand, because Mel was in the chat earlier, was saying like every match was great, and but the tag title match, or the tag match in particular that you mentioned, was the one that if she was to recommend one single match that everybody should have to check out, that was the one that she recommended.
Yeah.
Brian asking if you missed the Tommy Dreamer match. Nobody missed the Tommy Dreamer match. No, I'm kidding. So I guess the pre-show for Hard to Kill was only for if you were subscribed on their TNA Plus, whatever it is. It was like a bonus feature to that. So for those of us that were watching it on Fight, you did not get the pre-show. So yes, you did legitimately miss the Tommy Dreamer match, not just figuratively speaking on that one.
Honestly, I think TNA did everybody, let's just say this. Let's be honest here. They did everybody a favor by only showing it to those select people who watched on TNA Plus.
Pretty much. I mean, that's no disrespect to Tommy Dreamer, but what?
No. It's entirely meant as disrespect for Tommy Dreamer. I think that this man should have retired about 14 years ago, and that there's no reason he needs to be still continuing to wrestle on television.
Yeah, but then we had PCO on there, and that's a dude that just won't die. So.
Yes, but at least PCO is talented. PCO can still have a very good wrestling match. Tommy Dreamer cannot.
PCO is a wild stunt man, that's for sure.
Bobby Petito saying it's great that TNA signed Xia Brookside. It is. It's fantastic. Yeah. I think Xia will do great things in TNA. I mean, I have thought she was ultra talented from the time that she was in NXT UK. And of course, she got that. She did obviously get that, ability to be in NXT UK because her dad was coaching at the Performance Center in the States. But it's still a great opportunity that she got. Then she turned that, when NXT UK ended, into a run in Stardom as part of Club Venus alongside Mariah May. And I believe Mina Shirakawa, but I'm not sure if that's the right one. Okay, we have... Apparently, I'm being asked about Speedball. Speedball Mike Bailey? Like, I love Speedball Mike Bailey. I think he's fantastic.
This became a thing last night. So Brian decided to mention that he thinks Speedball Mike Bailey is garbage last night during our post show. And this happened to be while we had Astrid had got the raid from everybody at Get the Tables. And trust me, Brian was the least popular person in the post show rooms last night when he said what he said.
I'm going to defend Brian a little bit here I can see why some people wouldn't be into the style that Speedball does. Like, I think Speedball's style is definitely a bit of a hit or miss style. You either really like it or you really don't. Like, Speedball reminds me of a poor man's Matt Riddle. Like, let's be honest. I know Matt Riddle's problematic and we don't really like to talk about Matt Riddle, but let's be honest. From an in-ring perspective, everything Speedball Mike Bailey does, Matt Riddle does slightly better.
That's fair. I mean, like, I don't dislike Speedball by any means. If Speedball can put on a good match, I agree. He's run the circuit around here and stuff like that as well too, and everything. So good on him for doing what he does. I don't dislike him on the level that I dislike some people in the wrestling business at all. In fact, I don't dislike him. So, I mean, you're kind of you're a lonely island there, Brian, when it comes to that opinion, I think.
But that's the great thing about professional wrestling. We can all look at a wrestler and go, this is great or this is awful, and have that opinion and not be wrong. I mean, like, when he's entitled to his wrong opinion, but he's also, not necessarily wrong because it's an opinion.
I love how it's entitled to his wrong opinion. That is the best way to put it.
Oh, it's one of my favorite lines. You're entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yeah. That's right. It's point of view. Everyone's entitled to their wrong opinion on the show.
We talked about Downstate. We were talking about Nic Nemeth earlier, and I just want to bring up something. Downstate just put out a tweet last night, and it goes active themes, and it goes WWE. They have The Miz and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
AEW, Real Britt Baker. NWA and GCW, Matt Cardona. And now TNA and New Japan Pro Wrestling, Nic Nemeth. They are covering almost every place, with the exception of MLW. Well, I guess is Matt Cardona's theme the same theme on GCW that it is in MLW?
Pretty sure of it.
All right. They didn't list MLW here, Bobby, so I mean maybe you have to have a chat.
MLW is barely a blip on the radar most of the time. I'm well aware. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, so is MLW a bigger blip on the radar than GCW?
Right. Sadly, right now, no. And that's the thing. It's like
I just want to make sure that you don't feel snubbed by them not listing MLW.
MLW, no, I'm so used to it. MLW has got a storied history that they've been around a long time and all this kind of stuff, which is great. But when it comes down to it, they don't quite have the name status that a lot of these companies do. And GCW's has come from booking a different style. Like MLW Fuse's style is great and they do a good job of it. I enjoy it. But what GCW is doing is they're feeding into that niche IWC community that wants to go and see death matches. They want to go see matches against blow-up dolls or matches against children and all this just absolute nonsensical stuff that to me on my personal level is not pro wrestling, and I wouldn't go to watch it myself. But GCW offers it to the niche audience that likes it, and they stick to their guns on it, and they've developed quite a strong name in the process.
They have. I mean, I know very much about the GCW product. I'm not a fan of the GCW, as you said. GCW offers nothing that I really want to see. So, I'm not a consumer of their product, but I have heard that they do intend put out a good product for those that want to watch it. Bobby Petito brings up an interesting point. As I just also saw this on my Twitter feed as I have Twitter open looking at different things. Mustafa Ali is wrestling in New Japan in April at the Windy City Riot on April 12th. And guess who he challenged for his opponent?
Who's that?
Hiromu Takahashi.
Interesting.
I'm down for that match, by the way. Mustafa Ali versus Ticking Time Bomb, Hiromu Takahashi.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun match to watch right there.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what Ali does on the indie circuit right now. Because I think that is by far of the new releases, that is the only miss that WWE had in this entire list. And that includes Nic Nemeth, because I think Nic Nemeth needed to be released.
Yeah.
There was no way WWE was going to be able to give him what he needed, and there's no way he could do anything really more in WWE. Not from a bad sense. I just think that there's little left for him to do in his 20 years, other than get a real run at the top, and I don't think he was ever going to get that.
No. I think so too. Just for 1 second here.
Jimmy the Freak.
Yeah, Jimmy the Freak. That's how I feel about GCW as well. That versus the WRLD pay-per-view put me off.
The world. Them versus the world.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. And Brian saying, I know MLW's place, but it seems they are pivoting to be GCW with barroom hardcore fighting. GCW is trash. Yeah, I mean, it's something that both Brian and I agree on. Like, we don't like it. And obviously, MLW doing that Taipei death match after having a tag match prior to that on last week's card that wasn't supposed to be no DQ, but then everybody starts tossing around tables and weapons as if they're part of the regular arsenal nowadays. It's just, yeah.
And I want to bring this up because I think it's important to bring up right now, especially with some of the people who are tweeting on it. But we have Brian saying, and I like Cardona. And the reason why I wanted to bring up the I like Cardona thing is because this morning, Matt tweeted out, I've been in the pro wrestling business for 20 years. This is the hottest it's been in that time to be a pro wrestler and to be a fan.
2024 is going to be fucking exciting. Here's an idea. Stop bitching about what you don't like and just appreciate and support the stuff you do like.
Yeah.
And I think we should really bring that into what we do. I the best thing is that the first comment is from Effie, and it's, I'm going to bitch and have matches I like. Try to stop me.
Effie there to wreck the party.
Effie is fantastic. I think Effie is the type of guy who has a gimmick that only gets over on the indies, but I have a feeling could do big things for a televised wrestling product if he ever got the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think he's talented enough to be able to not do what he's doing on the indies, which is obviously an indie only thing, and bring that to a larger scale in some other way. Going back to Jimmy the Freak, only thing I've ever enjoyed about GCW are their Mania / Spring Break shows. Yeah, GCW has some big WrestleMania week shows. It is the cream of the crop for those WrestleMania week shows that happen. He also says we need a sequel to GCW's Orange Cassidy is doing something or whatever. Who knows? I mean, Bobby be front and center for that show.
Oh yeah, please give me more Orange Cassidy on my television screen. I'd love it. Yeah, and then give me more Sami Callihan while you're at it too. Just break me.
I'm telling you,
break me.
What was it? Match was Riddle versus Sami Callihan versus Orange Cassidy. I think is what I tweeted out last week.
Yeah, I think that was the case.
Oh, just fantastic. Just fantastic. It'd be a great match. You know, Meltzer would give it 5 stars, I'm telling you.
Oh, Meltzer gives a lot of things 5 stars. Meltzer gives a bad dinner 5 stars sometimes.
As long as it's not WWE and it's not a women's match, he'll give it 5 stars.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, I'm completely lost about where the hell I'm supposed to go in this thing.
Brian says, I think talking smack among wrestling fans is just as important as the in-ring talk. Plus, it gives them promotion feedback if they care to listen. I agree. I agree that that's to an extent that's definitely something to bring up and to do. But at the same time, it's things like that lead Tony Khan to tweak the bullshit he tweeted about Jinder Mahal and Hook,
which only just got Jinder more over than he's ever been. Tony's been better at putting other people over in the business right now than he's been at
Bobby,
putting his own people.
No, if you go to the other side, there's a little staircase that you can get up.
Is there?
Right there. Those 2 boxes.
Like,
see the 2 boxes?
I cannot. Thank you. It's hard to see on my screen right now, actually, weirdly.
Oh, okay.
I must have a setting that the viewing is not too good. That's what happened to me a couple times when I was playing Xbox on here, too. If I don't change to they have that night and day mode on there. If I don't change to night mode on here when I play it through StreamYard, then I can completely not see the screen almost.
Yeah. Jimmy, I'm not going to throw that comment up, but I will say that is definitely a match that somebody will do at some point in professional wrestling, and it's an embarrassment to think that match would actually ever take place. But I agree that match is probably something that somebody's going to put out there. And I'll say that because Marty Scurll is still wrestling in shows.
Yeah. And
we'll leave it at that. Bobby says, who would you like to see in MLW's featherweight championship in the future? I don't know. I'm not. What do they? Does their featherweight have like an actual like limit, or is it just what they call their women's division? It's just what they call the women's division. There's yet to see a limit on the weight class there. So, because I know that they had Taya Valkyrie in there, and I'm like, Taya's not a small girl, but at the same time, she's not like the biggest either. No. So it was one of those things where I was questioning whether or not there's some kind of, No, I don't think that there is. So, I mean, but it's why I've wondered, because they haven't decided to push forward Steph DeLander into that division. But then again, her only match that she's had so far is a taped match coming up on Fusion where she fights Good Brother number 3, a.k.a. Mance Warner, one-on-one kind of thing. But now, if I remember correctly, Mance lost the match where he had to leave, didn't he? Yeah, now he's been running around with a mask calling himself Good Brother number 3. Shocking. Somebody in
Yeah.
professional wrestling just doesn't listen to the loser leaves town match. And
Who would have thunk it?
it's almost like he's won Cena.
You know, but going back to what Bobby was asking there too, like I'd like to see someone like Viva Van make her way over to MLW. I think Viva Van would be a really good get for MLW right now for the featherweights division and everything. I think Viva Van is ultra talented, but again, she's going to probably end up going the path of like a Queen Amanado, someone I would have liked to have seen in MLW that will bypass it and go right to a bigger company.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm going to go simple. We talked about her earlier. What about Gigi Ray?
Gigi Ray would be phenomenal.
Gigi Ray makes perfect sense in something like that. I think MLW is a step up from reality of wrestling. It's not quite TNA. It's not quite Impact. It's not quite TNA. It's not quite AEW. It's not quite NXT. But I think it makes a lot of sense that would make sense that Gigi Ray would end up in an MLW for a little while.
Go for it, 100%. Like there's some great talent out here in Canada, especially like even like a Casey Spinelli or something like that. That would be great for MLW as well too.
Yeah. Bobby says Zeta Steele and Ava Everett. I believe Ava Everett's already been in. I think Zeta Steele has too, hasn't she?
Yes, but sometimes it's one-offs. So I think what Bobby's getting at is more like a more of an actual run with it kind of thing, as opposed to just a one-off situation. So.
I don't know if this is Brian saying this. I don't know if I think she's hot or not, but I love how Zeta Steele wrestles.
Brian, you're an old man. Take a cold shower.
The Freak, Jimmy the Freak says, and by the way, if you haven't, please go check out Jobbed Out, the wrestling channel. It is fantastic stuff. Jimmy puts on some great stuff. If you ever want to hear the stories behind some of the weird and wonderful things that happen in professional wrestling, well, the good, bad, just odd, all of those stories are on Jobbed Out. You'll find all kinds of great stuff on there. He does shorts that give you it in a small dose. And then if you like what you see on the short, there's always a link to the bigger video, which he has a long form video that tells you more of that same story. It is fantastic. He says, Jen Housen has referred to my channel as the out of jobs, and I'm all for it.
Dan Housen. What an
interesting. Yeah, and like I said, I just want to make sure on YouTube, Jobbed Out Wrestling. There's typically always a live 24/7 feed going on of a bunch of shorts that he has going on. So if you want to, go ahead and give him a subscribe. Go give him a look. He's a fantastic friend of the channel, and we greatly appreciate all of his advice throughout the year plus that we've been doing this.
Well, and Jimmy's our Ring Respect Radio YouTube trivia champion, and that belt's on the line this Thursday night as well too. So
there we go.
Just letting everybody know, and also letting Jimmy know so that he can be there to defend his title this Thursday night.
Bobby says Ava Lawless and Zoe Sager would both do great. I agree. There's a lot of. That's the thing. I think there's a lot of great Canadian talent and just talent in general that could do fantastic stuff. Jimmy said you're both too kind. Much appreciated. Jimmy, it's you've been a great friend of mine. When I've asked questions, You've always been there to answer them, and I will always support your content no matter what.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'll be ready unless I'm not."
We'll find out. Brian throwing some shade saying he's champion this weekend.
Dun dun dun! The gauntlet has been thrown.
It sure has.
But we then got to intermission after the match between AC Baby and JT Dunn versus the main event. We got to intermission, and I got to take a picture with the troublemaker Shannon Levangie. And I got an 8x10 for Astrid. And then I went ahead and splurged for myself. And I got myself an 8x10 and got myself in some rarefied air.
Yeah.
By meeting the one and only Richard Holiday.
Nice. Fantastic. Love Holiday.
Jimmy says, I will happily and humbly congratulate Brian on his eventual third place finish on Thursday.
Oh man, that's some good shade right there,
that
Brian.
Some great shade, and I posted it because they're on different platforms, and I want them both to see the shade being
thrown. Oh yeah.
And normally, I don't like when it's obvious that it's back and forth. I don't often do that, but like when they're on different platforms, you kind of have to see the comments.
Really for sure you do. We got to make sure that shade is thrown. We gotta build some tension for Thursday night's trivia night.
Bobby said Richie Holiday is great. He is. He's a fantastic person to deal with. He was polite and generous. He, took a great photo. So it's nice to have that little meet and greet down there. And I think I got one up on Bobby now, meeting one of his favorites from MLW.
Yes, you sure did. So, yeah. I mean, again, I don't often get an opportunity to meet a whole lot of people out this way unless they happen to be traveling through or something like that. But no, I'm happy for you. I mean, Richard Holiday is as great as what Bobby is saying, and I'm glad you got to meet him and see him there as well too.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was going to happen to him a year ago, about a year and a half ago, when he was battling with the cancer issues that he was and everything. So the fact that he's gotten back and he looks better than ever at this point in time is phenomenal. So happy for him.
Yeah, it was a fantastic. He was fantastic in the main event as well. So that's another thing to bring up when we get there. The main event, he was in the Pandemonium main event, which I'll explain when we get there. Jimmy says, Holiday is a great story. There's been too much sadness in this industry. He overcame something gigantic at the best possible time for his health and his career. I would agree. I would wholeheartedly agree that Holiday, because people forget, Holiday and Roman Reigns have dealt with similar issues, but Holiday dealt with it on television at a time when his career was just about to hit the biggest point. And then he had to take a year away, and he still hit a high point. And after, oh my.
They got a lot bigger.
They got a lot bigger bombs, Bobby. I am in the Boston area. I live just north of Boston, about 45 minutes north of Boston. Just south of New Hampshire. I live in the Boston area, though. That's where I see all of my independent wrestling. This show happened to take place in Lowell, Massachusetts, which is not too far away.
Lowell, Massachusetts, is known for being a wrestling town as well too.
So Chaotic Wrestling has a history. Especially if you're a WWE fan, Chaotic Wrestling is the place where some of your favorites got their, not always their start, but got some of their big, the time that they spent in the ring. They've housed as like local talent, like to them, on a monthly basis. They had people like Tommaso Ciampa. They had people like Kofi Kingston, Ivar of the War Raiders. Like their training school now picked up from the training school that was run by Killer Kowalski. So like they're a high grade, top tier wrestling talent group in the area. They were a feeder system. A lot of the people that go there typically end up in WWE. There was some great connections at one point between them and WWE and the talent in the talent departments.
Oh yeah, apparently I just I got blown to smithereens by that large bomb just now. That was
you
something.
did indeed. Jimmy says, "What are you rating Reverend John Cena Sr.'s work in the area?" I haven't seen Papa Cena in a while. I don't know what promotion he's working with now. He's not working with Chaotic much anymore. They've got Rich Palladino doing their stuff now. So, but I mean, John Cena Sr. is always good for a good time. You know what though? I've never seen a man take so much pride in his son's success to make himself feel like a big deal. But he's also a delight to deal with. Like I've dealt with him. I've seen him at shows before, and he's delightful and he's fun and he'll take pictures and he'll talk to the crowd and he'll tell us things that he probably shouldn't. Like he's a good guy and a fun guy that I've dealt with. I've never had a bad experience with him. He may have bad experiences. He may have done some things that people aren't proud of. Like it's entirely possible, And we've all had good experiences with terrible people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, Bobby says, who in Chaotic Wrestling would I like to see wrestle in MLW? There's a bunch. I think the Troublemaker, Shannon Levangie, I think would fit in. I think that she needs a little bit of work, but I feel like an MLW would be a good spot for her to pop in. Some of the big names in Chaotic, obviously. The JT Duns, I think, would do really well. I think Mortar. There's a guy named Mortar. I have some photos. Bobby hasn't seen these yet. He was the fill-in for the Pandemonium match. I think he'd really fit in with the MLW theme. He'd be in that monster kind of category. His tagline is "No Kings, no gods, only mortar. And he's got like a half painted face, and he's like a big dude that wrestles that big dude style. I have a feeling he kind of fit in that MLW thing.
Mm-hmm. We've had those before, and always happy to have them, especially with the idea that maybe Contra's coming back. We kind of got a tease to that. I was like, one of the cooler parts of last week's card is just the tease that Contra's on the way, which we don't know what.
Never a good thing for Jacob Fatu. I know that much.
Well, and the thing is that like it happened during Fatu's match, and the Contra blips that used to happen would happen during matches of people that would be targets to Contra. And when we last left Contra alone, we had Mods Kruger at the helm of Contra and Jacob Fatu not so much. So I don't know if this is something where somebody's coming for Jacob Fatu, or whether this is, are we receiving the return of Joseph Samael and Contra's reformation within MLW, and that could mean a longer stay for Jacob Fatu, which bonus for us fans.
As long as he shows up to his contractual appearances, unlike when he does in the indies.
I've heard things.
So. I've showed you things.
I know.
Yeah, Gabby Forza, Paris Vendale, JT Dunn, Aaron Rourke. I can't wait to talk about Aaron Rourke, but I got to get there. But he's in the main event. Evil Gay Aaron Rourke is a sight to behold. Let me tell you, that was my first experience with Evil Gay, as he calls himself. The dime piece from Sparkle City. And let me tell you, that guy's got a lot going on. He's got a lot going on. Aaron Rourke is fantastic. Paris Vandale, I agree, would make a great stop in the. But like I said, it's hard to really tell because for most of these people, this is the first and only time I've ever seen them wrestle, with the exception of like a JT Dunn, who like I said, has been around for a while in the area, who I know well. A lot of these people are people that I've never seen their work before, so it was the first time seeing them. So it's hard to really be too enamored with a lot of what they do. But yes, I'm. Oh, Bobby got squeezed.
I did.
Now, did you just lose a life, or is that just oopsie, and then you just go and do it again?
I've never had that happen before, so I guess do it again. Oh, made it that time at least. Yep. You got to time that just right.
Apparently. But yeah, no, I think all four of those. JT Dunn, I'm really hoping NXT steals JT Dunn at some point. I think he's. The problem with JT is he's the typical pro wrestler. Like there's nothing special about JT. Like he's great and I love him and he's got charisma and he's got wrestling ability and all that. But there, that special thing that you should have to really be a TV talent wrestler. Mm-hmm. I feel like JT's missing that. He's missing that it factor. And if he ever sees this, it's not going to be good for me. But
yeah, no interviews for you apparently.
No, I mean it's fun. Like I said, it just we've all seen those guys. Like you run PP, you help run PPW, you do PPW commentary every. Tell me that there's not a couple of guys on PPW that you look at and just go, they're just generic wrestler.
I have no such thoughts of any of the amazing talent that sits with me in the back
Bobby,
room.
Be honest, there's got to be somebody on your shows that you just look at and you go, this is the pinnacle of where they're ever going to be, and they're never going to go further than this.
I have a feeling some of those talent know that they're those talent already, kind of thing. But I won't name any particular names. But yes, there's clearly.
I ask you to name them. I'm just confirm or deny that you know what I'm talking about with those talents.
Okay, I won't deny that there's a possibility that there's some that aren't going to necessarily be the stars of tomorrow by any means.
Brian Carter thinks we should also have a reverse trivia night where the listeners get to ask questions to the hosts.
Hey, Brian, I went on a trivia show. I went on Mark's big wrestling trivia of the year on Christmas Day with the talented Tom Collahue and Lauren Goodnight, and I did okay. I did okay. I didn't do great, but I did do okay. That's the best I can say. I got last place, but only by a couple points. I think Tom beat me by 2 or 3 points, and Lauren by 1 or 2, kind of thing. It was a close call. So I have been on the other side of the fence.
Uncle Phil. Do we know who Uncle Phil is?
Uncle Phil? How do we not know who Uncle Phil is? Saskatoon's
I know
favorite
Uncle
wrestler.
Fresh Prince, but I assume it's a different person.
He, you know, Phil is the nicest guy you could possibly know, and he has gone leaps and bounds. Like, I know Brian's saying this, but you know, I've known Phil for a long ass time, and where Phil was at 7 years ago to where Phil is at today is leaps and bounds. Like, he is pushing hard to try to go beyond his means here in Prairie Pro Wrestling. He's obviously, we've nicknamed him Saskatoon's favorite wrestler for a reason, because it doesn't matter who you put in the ring against him. That person is automatically a villain. Doesn't matter how babyface they were before. They are automatically the villain in the sense that Uncle Phil's in the ring. He is great, and he's world traveled too. I mean, the guy has gone for training all around the world. In fact, even as we were starting to hit into the Bud Light 19 times, he almost got trapped out in Mexico, where he was training with a bunch of the luchadors out there at the time, was able to manage to sneak away back to Canada on one of the last remaining flights before everything went completely shut down and everything like that. Phil, he tries hard and he pushes hard, and that sometimes is half the battle. So I will say that there is still that possibility for him to go a little further. I don't know that you're ever going to see Phil Deadly rocking the tops of NXT or anything like that, but I do believe he is always going to give it an A+ effort to try to get to those places.
Yeah.
Apparently, I picked a pretty nasty fight here.
You did, apparently.
Yeah. These guys put me to sleep and everything.
Oh, no. That's not good.
Yeah. This Gino guy, he's kind of a wuss still, so he doesn't do a whole lot. I need Mario to wake up. Need a power punch.
Speaking of Paris, we were talking a little bit. Bobby mentioned Paris Vandale. It's like, again, I'm just scrolling through Twitter. Paris has announced that she's now 365 days as the Chaotic Wrestling Panoptic champion. So
perfect.
Sounds like her doom is coming imminently, because every champion is like, I've been champion for a year. That's almost always the tweet that ends up getting them losing their title within the next couple shows.
Yeah. Barry's up in the house saying hello to us, but mostly TNA's biggest new fan. I think that's implied towards me. You know, I used to watch a lot more TNA wrestling than I have done over the last few years, especially back in the days with AJ Styles and Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. And in that era of TNA wrestling, I really watched a lot heavier. But it was nice to watch that. And I said it last night after the show was done that I would be interested in doing what I usually do, and that's watch pay-per-views. I like watching big cards, and I would do that for TNA, and I would be more than happy to do the post shows for TNA moving forward as well too, for those, not for the weekly stuff, but definitely for those level ones.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We got Brian saying, what indie promotions are you watching and enjoying? So here's the thing. I don't have a lot of time for indie promotions. Like I said, this is my first indie show in 4 years. I don't much have time or money for much of the indie stuff, so I'm not often there. I've always supported Chaotic Wrestling, and I'm lucky enough to have 2 massive promotions in my area that run nearby, which is both Chaotic Wrestling and New England Wrestling. NEW is something that you'll know of if you've watched the WWE Cody Rhodes documentary. He talked about how he really enjoyed his time with NEW. They're the ones that I think
that was, yeah.
Don't touch them.
No, bad.
Oh, stop touching them.
I'm trying. No. That was terrible. Okay, we're through it.
But no, I mean, like I said, it's one of those things where I'm lucky enough to have 2 great indie promotions. And those are really the 2 indie promotions that I watch. If it's not one of those 2, I don't. I've heard really good things about Beyond Wrestling, which is another company that runs typically in the area. but nothing I've ever made it to a show. So it's all right. And Barry has a good question here.
Yep.
As a side question to Barry, what do you classify as an indie promotion? I classify anything without a television contract as an independent promotion. If you're not on television, you're an indie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best, easiest definition of what makes an indie promotion. If you don't have a weekly televised product, you're not really an indie promotion, right?
I agree with you 100%. And I think it needs to be an actual, like, just being on Fight TV, anyone can get their independent promotion on Fight TV kind of thing. So I even still classify MLW. MLW is a bigger fish in the independent pool, but I still classify them as an independent.
Yeah, I would say MLW and GCW kind of represent that big fish, small pond kind of indie promotions.
Yeah.
Neither one has a televised on TV. I can turn to this channel and find your product. TNA technically still has that, so they're a televised wrestling promotion because they have a TV contract.
They do.
NWA technically classifies as a television product at this point. They have a TV deal, from what I understand.
They do. Yeah.
They have a TV deal. They used to be on television. I know that too. I don't remember where, but I mean NWA kind of almost always has to be classified as pro wrestling as opposed to independent pro wrestling. Oh, there's a star over here, Bobby, that you missed. I don't know if that matters.
No, on the side of the building right there?
Yeah.
No, that's actually just to indicate that I can go pay to stay and revitalize my guys.
Oh, okay.
It's like a motel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Bobby says that Alex Hammerstone was great and signed. Was great and signed. Was he officially signed to TNA?
Not officially yet, no.
Okay, so he just wrestled a match for them last night.
That's right, yeah. And
he didn't get the graphic like Zaya did.
No, he did not. But it would be great if he did. Trust me. And I think the entire TNA fan base would agree. Like, there was a lot of buzz after last night's match with Josh Alexander. The world got to witness what we've been witnessing in MLW for a while. And while it had grown stale in MLW simply because we had seen Hammerstone for so long and the talent pool there was drying up, it was kind of who hasn't Hammerstone beat at this point had kind of become the case. It was nice to see him get a fresh start somewhere else, and he killed it. He absolutely killed it. That match with Josh Alexander last night was phenomenal, and Josh Alexander is phenomenal on top of it too. I'm a big Josh Alexander fan. Loved that match. Glad Hammerstone was there, and I think TNA would do good to bring him in some more, even if it's not full time. At least bringing him in for some more opportunities there, because wow, he could have some great matches with their roster.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. There's definitely a lot of things that Hammerstone can do when given new people to work with and not having to work with the same old guy. Because I mean, I think everybody, you hit that wall where you just can't have the same match over and over and over again and get anything new out of it.
Yeah. It's bound to happen eventually, and that's the sad part is that it will happen, especially with companies like that don't have the consistent roster pool or opportunities that some of these other places have. So you got to go somewhere else to freshen it up, and I think that's exactly what Hammer needs. And I think last night was a testament to why he needed to get out of MLW and show off his talent elsewhere. And I think it's only going to make Hammer a bigger star going to places like TNA or wherever it is that he shows up next. I don't know that signing a contract exclusively with someone right now is even in Hammer's best interest. I mean, it's totally up to him. If he wants to, that's his call, but I'd like to see him do a little bit more world traveling before he settles somewhere.
Yeah. I think Hammer, I mean, obviously I'm going to sit here and be, greedy for a little bit here. And there's another question coming up on another talent that I think is almost, I'm hoping is, signed, sealed, and delivered for NXT. But can we bring Hammerstone in too? Because again, I think he delivers something totally different that we don't have in NXT. And I think he'd be great. And I don't want to say he needs a long run in NXT, but I think he could definitely do with a short run in NXT, a year and a half. to get used to that style, to get used to the way the television product works, to get way. And we've seen it from a lot of talent that they thrive under the ability to learn the WWE style before hitting the main roster.
You know, it was interesting last night too, and like, you know, and there would be, yeah, you're right. In NXT, WWE, there's a lot of great stuff for Hammer there as well too. But I just want to commend him on his selling. Like, I mean, last night when Alexander was attacking the leg, Hammerstone consistently was selling that leg was hurt, making you believe that he, you know, couldn't get to the pin when he hit the Nightmare Pendulum, and they protected the Nightmare Pendulum by having Alexander roll to the outside as opposed to doing a kick out of Alexander's, you know, protected finisher and everything like that too. So just so much great that went down there. I was very, very impressed with how, you know, the way it all went. And yeah, I don't know. It's awesome to see. I was a very happy wrestling fan last night in general.
I mean, and that's the great thing. I think there's so much great professional wrestling that you can just enjoy everything and just do anything and everything. I think that there's so much there. Barry Monkey says, Hammerstone and GYV, I really want Impact to sign and claim temporary insanity when signing Dana Brooke. Let's talk about Ash by Excellence for a minute here, because I didn't get a chance to fully watch it. I had it on the whole time, but I was unfortunately not able to really, you know, watch the whole show. What were your Astrid's thoughts on Ash by Excellence or Essence or whatever the hell it is?
It's Excellence. It's a great perfume brand, I'm sure. You know, like, is she the biggest name that a person can get? No. Is she the biggest name that walked in the building last night for TNA? No. But she worked for WWE and she has a name. Whether that name has changed or not, she has a name that she brings to the table and probably has enough of a fan base, especially for a company like TNA, to bring some eyes to the product to see what she does next. And so I say give it a chance. I know she's nowhere near anybody's top favorite female wrestler by any means, but I say give it a chance to see how they utilize Ash by Excellence in the company.
Oh, it's Elegance. I'm sorry.
Or Elegance, sorry.
Elegance.
Okay.
By the way, WWE now has a 3-minute documentary on Jinder Mahal's title reign in 2017.
Really? Nice.
Well, because people keep talking about him as a former world champion, and apparently people have forgotten how that happened. So you can relive the reign of the modern day Maharaja in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And by the way, I'm a big fan of Jinder, and I'm loving that he's getting this push. And like, I get it. People are mad, and Tony's mad, and shit like that. But you know what? You know the reason people don't get mad when Jinder Mahal gets a championship match? Because they know he's not going to win. And overall, it's going to be just fine. It's going to be fine. The match won't be terrible. The match will be fine. It'll be over and done with. And everything will be okay.
Jinder can wrestle. Jinder can talk. He's got a good look for professional wrestling. And right now, Jinder is more over than he's ever been.
He's also a wonderful Canadian. Like, you guys don't take enough credit for this. He's a wonderful Canadian.
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah. Him and the Bollywood boys rocked the Canadian scene and everything. We're very proud of them both.
Isn't it funny that WWE, you know, mind you, they are all of the same. They all have the lineage that they were portrayed on WWE television. WWE didn't lie when they talked about how they were, you know, they had this Indian heritage. They all had that heritage.
Oh, yeah.
All of these wonderful Canadians portraying these Indian. Like, I love that.
Yeah. But I mean,
you would take advantage of that. And by the way, good for WWE on that one.
Yeah.
You have these people that don't look Canadian, that all look like the heritage that they were portrayed as, and they were that. So it's fine to do so. It's authentic to whom they are that they did that. It's not like taking Yokozuna and making him a Japanese man when he was a Samoan. That was different.
True. Yeah.
By the way, how old were you when you realized that he was a Samoan and not Japanese? Because it took me
adult.
too long.
Full adult. Trust me.
Yeah, okay. So it's not just me that didn't know and didn't get it.
No. I mean, as a kid, I bought into the lie 100%. So, yeah, don't worry about that. But yeah, no, it's, you know, and you say this about Canada, it's like Canada has been known for its like diverse immigration and stuff like that for so long that this does not come across as weird for us because we celebrate different heritages. We've, you know, been very proud of what we've done here as a country and stuff like that, to the point where, you know, we're very happy not only to see someone go on TV and be proud of where their roots are from, but also to, you know, secretly be, you know, going yay Canada in the background. So very, very happy for our Jinder Mahals of the world.
We've got some additional comments in here. We'll get back to Bobby's other question about somebody else in a minute. My wife actually asked me, why are they letting this match go when Hammerstone was obviously hurt in real life? From Brian Carter.
I'm pretty sure that was Hammer selling. So just
Bobby said, well, no, but here's what he's saying. His wife was asking that question.
Okay. Good.
You would hope Brian Carter, a person who, you know, who might believe, is he the one who wants to go to all these Prairie Pro Wrestling shows and doesn't get to go to them, or?
He would. I think Brian would come to a Prairie Pro show if he had the opportunity. He is his El Assassino's #1 fan across the planet. So,
well, I mean, everybody should be a fan of El Assassino.
Well, they should be. I mean, well, except for his antics, he's kind of a bastard sometimes. So,
oh, he's fine. That Tony Novak just needs to grow a pair. It'll be okay.
Oh, Tony, poor Tony.
Tony ever get his championship match?
No, because Tony actually ended up in the hospital right around Christmas time with a kind of a brain tumor and everything. So we're hoping for a speedy recovery for him.
Oh no, I was honestly, I was just joking around. Like I said, you know me, I don't get to see a lot of the Prairie Pro.
No, I understand. No,
like, last I knew, him and Assassino were doing a thing, so I assumed that there was some kind of storyline.
No, he was supposed to work Colton Kelly at the last show to determine the #1 contender. Between him and Colton Kelly, and it didn't happen due to him being in the hospital. So, but Brian, he would love to come to PPW. And Brian, we have got the ball rolling on some PPW merch, and Papa Smokes and I, if the merch should be done in time, and we will personally be sending you a PPW shirt to wear at that MLW live show that you're going to.
Nice. Bobby says he's going to still call her Dana Brooke as opposed to Ash by Elegance. Barry Monkey says it gave the Iceman something to do, which was nice. And Brian Carter brings up, it seems to me that the TNA women's division was stacked and the new tag team champs are incredible. Who are the new tag team champs? I honestly missed it.
Decay returned last night and won the tag titles from MK Ultra in what was a great matchup.
The women's tag titles or the men's tag titles?
The women, the women's for the knockout.
Okay, so this is so they're back to if they're back to Decay, does that mean we get Jessica and Rosemary back?
Rosemary and Havoc. Yeah.
Rosemary and Havoc. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which imitation of those two we're talking about here.
Yeah, but it was a solid match too. Masa Slamovich, who, you know, I've heard so many great things about, but seen so little of, she's fantastic.
Yes, so, Masha is fantastic and a great talent, and very excited for more of her in the future. Going back to Bobby's other comment that we were talking about before, who would you guys like to see wrestle against Julia for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship? I'm going to tell you, I don't care who she wrestles for that championship. It was hopefully in 6 months, she will be in NXT wrestling against Tiffany Stratton, and Nikita Lyons, and Lyra Valkyria, and all those wonderful NXT women's names. That's my hope. I don't care about this New Japan Strong Championship. She's going to lose that thing at some point in the next couple months.
It's true. It's true. But they built her up so well. Who do you think, Bobby, will be the one to take said title from Julia if the rumors are true about her going over to WWE? My game. Fuck. Anyway.
You all right?
Right. Yeah, just we're now tied 2-2 in the match over here on the side here.
Oh, okay.
Lots of time to go. Lots of time for us to still lose.
Well, before I have to get out of here, we're going to go ahead and finish up a couple lingering thoughts on Chaotic Wrestling for the week. Waves and Curls, phenomenal tag team. Can't wait to see them back again. They took on God's Greatest Creation, our CW tag team champions. Fantastic little match between the two of them. Great hijinks from God's Greatest Creation, the typical heel tag team. knows how to use it. Waves and curls, just such great sympathy. They get that sympathy so easily. Big tall dude too. Like I stand 6 feet tall, and this guy was at least 4, 5, 6 inches taller than me. One member of Waves and Curls. So big tall dude. Love him. They were great. Thoroughly enjoyed. Would love to see them in NXT. I think they would do really well. The problem is NXT and WWE typically don't do tag team wrestling well, which is unfortunate for a guy like Waves and Curls, because I think that gimmick would work really well in the WWE system. But unfortunately, it goes back to, and hopefully Triple H will change how tag team wrestling is done and how it's looked at. You know, he's trying to do that now. So let's see what happens in the future.
He brought back the AOP, so
yeah. But as far as it all goes down to Pandemonium. The main event, which was an elimination gauntlet style match. So it's a little bit Iron Survivor, it's a little bit gauntlet, it's a little bit of everything. 2 men started in the ring. They had 5 minutes to work. And then every 3 minutes, after the first 5 minutes, somebody else came in. And then 3 minutes beyond that for the next competitors. And it featured Ricky the Smoke Show, Aaron Rourke, our chaotic wrestling champion, and Creative Pro champion as well. So another independent promotion that people typically know of and people have heard of. Creative Pro is run by Brian Myers. Well, it was Brian Myers is one of the people who helps run Creative Pro. Brian Myers is obviously well known to those in the TNA and indie stuff. WWE, or as all the Impact fans will know, Edge's bitch number 2.
That's a good way of putting it.
But no, Creative Pro. So yeah, Aaron Rourke, Mortar. This is also where we had Bronson on the show in his match. And we also had Richard Holiday in this match on the show. And they were all taking part in Pandemonium to become the new. Oh, and Danny Miles, I think is his name. Is the other person in here. Or as I called him, and he really didn't like it. Towards the end of the match, he was showboating and stuff on the outside of the ring, and I called him Jamie Noble, and he didn't like it. Like, he looked like a big, chunky, like, strong version of Jamie Noble. And the people in my section thought I was very clever. Danny did not. I've never been one of those guys who, like, pipes up at the wrestlers at the indie show, but that was the one opportunity I took to it. And I was sitting in the second row, and I thought he was going to come into the second row for me. Like, he got right up to the thing right in front of where I was sitting, and the finger point and everything. I was like, oh. Oopsie.
See, and that's what I love about indie shows is that, the fact you can rile somebody up like that and they'll get right in your face and play into it beautifully. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, it was fantastic. There was a great moment when Holiday came out. He was the 5th competitor into the match, and there were 2 baby faces and 2 heels, and Holiday was in the middle. And I'm like, well, he's obviously going to be a heel because, as far as I knew, he was a heel. Apparently, he's babyface now.
He was a heel when he came back to MLW at the last card, but only because he was.
Yeah, which is why I assumed he was a heel everywhere. Apparently, he's not working heel in the indies.
No, he's been babyface just about everywhere else. I think it was just because, the combination of he left as a heel in MLW and then the fact that he came back to fight Alex Kane, I think was the only real reasoning behind it. Because aside from that, everywhere he goes, he's been playing up the babyface card, which is fine too. His gimmick works both ways in a sense, and it works well for Holiday.
Yeah, and he was the first person eliminated after about 5 or 10 minutes in the match. When one of the guys wanted to bring a chair into the match because it's a no disqualification. The only way you're eliminated is pinfall or submission. And he took the chair from the guy, and he was like, wasn't sure if he was going to hit one guy or wasn't sure if he was going to hit the other guy. And back and forth, and it took forever, and it was way too long. And if it was on a real wrestling show, I would have been like, what the fuck? Just get over it, dude. Come on. But I mean, he was milking the time in the ring with the crowd because they knew he was going to be eliminated. But at one point, he throws the chair out of the ring and gets suckered by a heel and gets rolled up into a small package for the 1, 2, 3. Bear Bronson was fantastic. Big Bulk Bronson from Ring of Honor was fantastic in this match. Thoroughly enjoyed him, but he was out second. Aaron Rourke, as Bobby said earlier, oh my God, this guy is a star. Again, I don't know if it would ever relate to television because I don't know if you can put that kind of a gimmick on TV. Like the portrayal of gay wrestlers on television is so hit or miss because you've got to be so careful with how you do it that it's just so hard to do well on television. And you've watched television wrestling for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Well, and especially now because it's not something that you want to, like, you know, when we were growing up, and we know damn well the reason that Goldust got over was due to a lot of the controversy surrounding how he acted at the time and everything. So, you know, that was just the way it was. But nowadays, that's not the case. We don't look at it as something that should bother people or anything. And it never really should have in the first place. But it did once upon a time, and now not so much. So that portrayal kind of doesn't quite have the same impact in that sense. And it tends to be accepted more in a positive light. So it doesn't work in the same negative context as it used to, and has become more of a positive thing in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I agree. It's so like we rarely see such a gimmick like that over at a high level on televised wrestling. Like it's not something that hits the heights as like your main star on a wrestling show. And so it's tough to, hopefully someday it will. I'd love to see somebody like that get the highest of heights, but until we get there, it's kind of just a wait and see. No, it was a fantastic match. It ended up with Jamie Noble and Aaron Rourke in the finals. The two of them going at it, and Aaron Rourke squeaks out the win. And then Danny decides to beat him up, and out comes JT Dunn. And Danny's part of this group called the Unit, and it used to be this big faction with a lot of the talent on the chaotic roster, kind of like a bloodline type thing, like a big unit of like, I think it was 6 people, and people have decided to take sides. It's like a civil war going on. So they have the Broken Unit and the Unit as 2 different teams going on now. So JT Dunn is part of that unit, and he came out for the save on the champ. And the 3 of them were standing in the ring, jaw-jacking and talking, and Danny was trying to get it, the band back together to attack Aaron Rourke, and JT wasn't having any of it. But JT kept having his eyes on that championship because he sees that title, and well, he's a good guy. He can't help but look at the title. So it sounds like we're headed to a triple threat next month in February at the February show. But no, it was a great show. I'd definitely say 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a good show. I really enjoyed myself. It was a great way to get back into independent wrestling. I've got the itch again, Bobby. I've got the itch again.
Perfect. Well, once it's there, it's hard to get rid of it.
Finance my itch, because otherwise I don't know how well the itch is going to go here.
See, you just got to be like me and be like, I can't afford the itch, so just I'll get involved and do some work for them, and then I don't have to pay.
I mean, that would be the best way to do it, but I don't know how well that's going to work.
Just become a commentator.
They've already got 2 high-class commentators already.
Fair enough. It's hard to replace when you got good people there. I know constantly we get, the funny story is, like, we get a lot of people who will message Prairie Pro Wrestling and will ask if they can ever get a role as a commentator and all these kind of things, and not realizing that all of those emails and all of those messages go to me every single time. And so
you're like, oh, do I want to give up my seat? No, I don't think I do.
Not exactly. Not really something I'm looking to do. But speaking of that, though, here's the interesting story I was going to tell you about the man with the angelic voice and that name in general, where it comes from. So when Papa Smokes and I first started as commentary, it was for High Impact Wrestling here in Saskatchewan at the time. We had never done anything like it before, and we were, just put together like, this is what you're going to do, yada, yada, yada. Okay, go for it. We put the first episode of what they called, what was it? It was Wild Side TV is how it was titled. We put this out, and right away, somebody messages the owner of High Impact Wrestling and says to them, you should pick somebody to replace that Papa Smokes guy. He's terrible. His voice is all just gravelly and awful. I can't stand him. They were just pissed that Papa Smokes was selected as a color commentator for us, not understanding just how experienced he was knowledge-wise and everything like that, what he would bring to the table. They say this, and this gets back to me anyway. I was told about this. So what I did was the next time we went to go and record, as on the spot, I just decided I'm going to give him a nickname that kind of takes a stab at these fans that say that he's not good or making fun of that voice. So out of nowhere, he didn't expect it either. As we're starting, that's when I introduced him as the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. And it caught on. The people who got it. And ever since, it's just been more than fun to say every single time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And just so everyone's clear, for those that want to, you can follow Chaotic Wrestling on Twitch, and they live simulcast all of their shows on Twitch. For free, you can follow and watch the shows. But if you want to watch them on demand, you have to be subscribed. It's one of those things like if you catch it live when the shows happen, and they'll let you know, they'll send you the notifications. You can go ahead and watch these shows live. They have some production value. I was going to say, like, they have their own little arch. They have some lighting. They have a great ring announcer. It's a good time. The only lasting thing I'm going to say about this and about that is,
I'm getting picked on.
Did you hear that, Bobby?
It's because they're live on Twitch and PPW isn't. It's like, yeah, I get it, Brian. I get it. We've talked about it.
There's a lot of work that having both of us having worked with a company that does a live, wrestling. You do live wrestling shows week in and week, month in and month out.
Yeah.
We're both part of Love Wrestling. And when Love Wrestling started doing those shows on Twitch, remember, the first show never aired because they couldn't figure out the logistical issues of it.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do. Yes, Chaotic Wrestling has it. They've done it great. They do their thing. But just because they can do it doesn't mean it's easy to do. They've invested in it. They have multiple cameras. They have a camera above the ring in the upper area where the announcers are. They had 2 ringside cameras, and they're just handheld camcorders.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of work to be able to do that. And Astrid, if she's still here, I don't think she is, because I think she's, if I remember correctly, I believe she's reviewing Hard to Kill again. So I believe with SP3. So after this, you guys can go check her out on YouTube. Brian believes in Bobby's technical skills. I will neither confirm nor deny Bobby's technical skills.
Maybe one day, Brian. We'll see what happens. Again, it's
you guys started getting music in a big screen, didn't you?
So yeah, so we got the TV built in behind our archway and everything like that. Because again, every little bit of profit that we make, we keep a lot behind. We made sure that there's always enough, no matter what. If a show didn't run successfully, we'd still have money there for the next show, kind of thing. So there's always money there, but we don't want to go blow it on things if we know there isn't an abundance of money there. So when we've had very, very successful shows, in particular our Halloween shows, we tend to put that money towards upping the production a little bit. And yes, well, but recently this year we added the screen TV and behind the archway, redid the archway to look a little bit better, and it's been awesome. Yeah, so everybody, they either have their own entrance videos or else I make entrance videos for the ones who don't. and they get those opportunities to come out to that. At the Halloween show, we had a bit of an opening video package that kind of explained the reason that we were having a chairs match between El Asesino and Cannonball Kelly that everybody loved as well too. So it's just it's fun additions that we do, and I'm with you, Brian. Like, once we can get the cameras to do it and the people as well too. Like, I mean, it's easy to say that we've got myself, Basser, and Papa Smokes, but in order to run that live, we'd also have to run live commentary. So now you're pulling myself and Papa Smokes off of the camera work entirely, and in order to make room for that. So there is some hiccups along the way, and with Saskatchewan not having a very large population to begin with, and very small amount of that is wrestling fans, it's tough to make those things happen necessarily. Not saying we won't try, not saying it couldn't be in the works, just saying not yet.
Yeah. Coming out of this show, I would say that there's a couple people that I'm hoping get a bigger stage. I'd love to see JT Dunn get a bigger stage. I think this guy, like I said, while I don't think his character is anything overly special, he's charismatic. He's really good in ring. He does a lot of good things, and I think he could really get over on a larger stage. I'd love to see something for him. Paris Van Dale, I think, has some charisma and has some skill. I think she could be a bunch of fun for some of those promotions that don't have a lot of women's work. People like Bobby, look her up and see if she's available for Canadian shows.
Yep,
something worth a while. There's some great young talent there that I'm looking forward to. I definitely need to check out some more Bronson stuff, because Big Bulk Bronson, Big Bear Bronson, Titty City himself. Again, things that wouldn't go on to, like, apparently he does it on TV too, but like on Ring of Honor. But like, he takes guys and he opens up his singlet and he shoves their face inside his singlet and rubs it on his like, it's fun indie stuff, man. Oh, he fell down.
I did. But you
tried not to talk to him. You tried to fight him.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to do, and that didn't happen.
Now you have to talk to him to get a fight, Bobby.
You want to fight? Yeah, I want to fight.
Why else would I be up here if I don't want to fight?
Yeah, that's right. Unless he's going to give me the stars I need to finish the game.
Yeah. But with it being about 1 o'clock here, on the East Coast at least, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I got a couple other things to do for my Sunday. But Bobby, I wanted to thank you for letting me come on here and talk about chaotic wrestling for a little while.
You're always welcome.
Why you gamed and with your chat.
Yeah, you're always welcome. And Ed, your tickets down below. Let the people know where they can find you, what you got coming up.
You guys can find me on Ed Fries 12584 on the Twitter, on the X, whatever you want to call it. You can find all of my content simulcasts on my own Twitch channel at Ed Fries 2002. I simulcast all of the content that I do for our local establishment there. Make sure that you follow our local establishment. If you can, watch on both platforms, just to go ahead and make sure that our local establishment keeps the things in so we can keep making improvements to everybody's content so we can continue doing the good things that we do. You can catch me every Tuesday night with the wonderful Natural Astro Bizarro as we talk all things NXT every Tuesday night as soon as it ends. Big things coming as we're now on the road. Now that New Year's Evil is done, we're on the road to Vengeance Day coming up in the beginning of February. So that's going to be a fun thing to do. So make sure that you go ahead and check us out for that. Marvel Talk is a show I do with my good friend Andre C., who was in the chat earlier. And we talk all things Marvel. Right now, we are in the process of both watching all 5 episodes of Echo, so we can go ahead and review that for you all. That will hopefully be coming later on this week is what we're planning on, because we both thought it was releasing later on this month. So neither one of us were prepared to go ahead and watch it this week and get ready for that. We also have MCU rebound shows coming up in the next little bit, as Marvel is taking a bit of a downturn in 2024, where they're not releasing much in the terms of movies, with the exception of, I believe, Deadpool, is the only movie coming out this year for Marvel. So we're going to be going ahead and doing an MCU rebound. We go back from the beginning and we rewatch all and review all of the MCU. We've already done Iron Man 1. Next stop is The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton.
Ooh,
which
yeah,
is technically part of the MCU, so it has to classify. It is the second movie in the MCU. So yeah, That's all the good, wonderful places that you can find me. I know Brian has one quick question. Ed, before you go, tell us why we should watch NXT. Simple. NXT is the best week-to-week wrestling product, especially if you like watching women's wrestling. NXT does a very good job of making sure that they feature and promote women's wrestling as often and as high caliber as they can. They typically have at least 1 to 2 matches on a show, and they continue to tell multiple women's wrestling stories that are more than just, hey, I want the championship. There are other stories going on. They're doing other things. So also, I mean, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are telling one of the great stories in professional wrestling, as Bobby knows. Like I said, there's nothing new under the sun, but the story of you being jealous of your friend is one of the best wrestling stories in the world.
Yeah.
Of a guy being jealous of his friend. That's something that we all understand, and they've been telling a great story for that. We're coming up to Stand and Deliver WrestleMania weekend, which will be their big show. So make sure that you go ahead and give them a look for that. And by the way, it's the best thing you could be watching on a Tuesday night, to be honest. You got 2 hours on a Tuesday? Go ahead and watch.
Well, outside of your review of it, of course.
No. NAC is better than our review. The review should never be better than the product. If the review is better than the product, you got a bad thing going on. Let's be honest.
There's some good reviewers out there.
There are some great reviewers out there, but if you're reviewing the product and you're more entertaining than the product, again, that's a problem. I think you gotta slingshot him, Bobby.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah, you gotta jump on the front end right in front of the little womp womp.
Okay. If I don't keep falling off in the first place, that's half my battle. But yeah, no, I want to thank you, Ed, and as always, like, you're welcome here anytime. Just hop on in. You got something to say, feel free. So.
Nope, you gotta jump on the front. There we go. Almost.
Yeah. Right here somewhere. There we go. There we go.
I told you.
You're right. Glad you were here. I could have been there all day.
See the things that I can't. Damn.
Oh, and I fall down here. Here we go again. Whoops. There we go. Go back up.
All right, everyone. Y'all have a great day. I'm going to leave you with Bobby, and I'll see you all next time.
Thanks, Ed. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. We got... Yes, thank you, Ed, as Brian's saying there. Thank you as well for everybody who's been here today. I'm still kind of tracking the Man United game here at the moment while trying to play this game. Man U's tied 2-2 against Tottenham, which was unexpected. I thought they were definitely going to lose, but yeah, Højlund and Rashford scoring goals here today, which has been delightful. I have no idea how to get over there, though. This makes no sense. Jump up here, and then you can't get anywhere else. This is frustrating. Straight to there. You can't go up here, as far as I can tell. Go over here. Nothing here. Oh, there it is. Okay, never mind. Got it figured. Here we go. Let's try this again. Nope. Just keep falling down. Why don't I? All right. One last attempt, and then I'm going to call it a day here probably because got things to do as well too. All right. Go through this fight here. I think once I'm done this fight, I'm gonna call it a day. It's between last night and today. It's been a long weekend, but we'll go to your question here first, Brian. So what wrestling are you watching most weeks? Obviously MLW. With my editing, I clearly and calling commentary, obviously PPW I watch religiously, whether by choice or not. I try to keep up with some PCW Ultra. Of course, I really have respect for PCW Ultra's stuff. And, I'm curious to see more from Impact after watching last night's show as well, too. I like to watch matches. I go back and watch a lot of old school stuff. Of course, with Pop Spokes and I now studying for doing the trip through the territories, which thanks to all you wonderful people has been a very successful show for us the other night there. So, it's a variety for me. It's definitely a variety. I like watching really strong big cards. I'd rather watch pay-per-views than watch weekly television. Weekly television I find rotten for the most part. I really cannot sit there through 3 hours of programming where people are just talking nonsense and setting up things I don't really give two F's about kind of thing. So I try to avoid the weekly stuff and save myself for just the large cards personally. But how about yourself, Brian? Any recommendations outside of what you and I normally would watch? Oh, there is a bunch of coins in here. Oh, and a blue flame apparently. Oh, blue flame was easy to beat though. No problems there. Oh, there's going to be multiple. That's the rough part. Oh, Malo gets another level up. 14 now. Or is it one for every attempt I go at a Gator coin here? Is the possibility that these guys keep showing up. No, unfortunately, I've been watching several promotions, but I haven't found anything great. I haven't figured out how to see. BCW Ultra has their own streaming service, was what kind of holds us back from seeing it too much. So that's the only downside that I find hard to keep up with theirs. It's kind of like with some of the stuff, like I'd like to follow more out of Australia and New Zealand, but a lot of their cards are on their own streaming service and nothing they can really get access to unless you're really wanting to pay that monthly fee and stuff. But there's great stuff. I know I could get back into watching a little bit of Riot City Wrestling out of Australia. Their production values weren't nearly as good as some of the other promotions out that way, but I know that they had shared a lot of the same talent amongst the companies that had the higher production value out there. It'll be something to watch out for. Australia and New Zealand have some good wrestling stuff going on out there. Love it. Just like I'd love for Man United to score another goal and actually win this game against Tottenham that we weren't expected to have a chance in. 2-2 still, according to what I'm seeing on my screen. Getting towards the end of the game. Oh, I said I'd find Yoshi. Okay, where is he going? Far left. No, it's a tie. He was in the middle. All right. Well, just as I'm going to try to at least get to a point where I can save this anyway. Now I'm thinking that's probably the best bet. I don't want to lose all my progress. Middle. No, this time he was far left. Son of a gun. Can't believe that. Way to go, Bobby. Everybody's just missing this now. Come on. I gotta stop trying to look for Yoshi. I'm risking too much of my stuff. Middle. Woo! Got that one. Sweet. Way to go, Bobby. See how you've improved. All life is better when you're a TNA fan. Yeah. Well, I mean, Sure. It has been a good weekend. I'm not going to deny that, Barry. Obviously, we had a good time watching the show last night, and then, of course, followed up by a stream that went incredibly well because, again, we had that raid that came in from Get the Tables and good, strong audience last night for that. So apparently TNA's got some sort of magical luck going on that brings good fortunes. So I'm not gonna disagree with you at all. Now, maybe again, like we're 2-2 in this Man U Tottenham game, a game I thought we were going to get beaten, and there's that possibility that Man U could still win too. So maybe TNA is bringing me some good luck. As Bobby saying, awesome job. Yeah, it was a great stream. Really happy that happened, and the numbers on the YouTube side of things for OLE in general have been picking up and doing really good as well too. We've seen a lot of great progress there with a lot of shows, including, like, again, Ring Respect Radio. When we talked about, the history of world-class championship wrestling on Thursday, that thing's over the 100 view mark now and on the rise. So it's been wonderful seeing that, Papa Smokes' idea come to fruition finally and getting to get some love there as well. So very happy. All right. Oh, we got some boss guy. Is this going to be another boss fight? Had a couple of boss fights today already. Oh, bombs away. Oh, where'd I go? Oh, I can hide in here while they're blowing up. I get you. Oh, he ran out of bombs. Oh, we got a big chomper here. Yeah, so what's everybody got planned for their Sunday here today? As soon as I can manage to find a save point, we're gonna start working on some beef Wellingtons for today. Today's another beef Wellington day, because why not? Beef Wellington Sunday. Bobby's mentioning that he would have Queen Aminata or Viva Van beat Julia for the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship. I think both those would be great selections as well too, Bobby, so good thinking on that. Again, like Ed said, he's just hoping that Julia is on her way to WWE and joining NXT sometime this year. So that's what the WWE hopeful have got on their minds right now, is getting Julia over their way. We are gonna go heal up Bowser a little bit here. All right, it's starting to look more and more like Man United's going to tie this game as it's getting closer to the end. But again, stoppage times are so ridiculous in football these days that there is still anything that could happen. Bobby saying Queen Ominato's on AEW Rampage last night, or Rampage last Friday against Shida. Would have been that's one I should check out. I think I like Queen Aminata's work, so definitely should check that out. Come on, save point. Oh, there it is. Perfect. This is exactly what we needed. All right. Now that's been done. I'm going to do that. I'm also going to turn off this generic rock music here, and I'm going to stop sharing the screen. As we call a close to this week on Point of View, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show. It's been a delight. As you'll see down below, that is my ticker. That is where you can find me, Bobby Munson. The next point you're going to be able to find me, of course, is this Thursday night with my partner in crime, Mr. Papa Smokes, as we bring you WTF Do We Know About Wrestling Pub Trivia Night Part 7. Looking forward to that. So get your wrestling trivia knowledge together and bring it this Thursday night, because that is where we are going to be. We are going to just throw out a random raid here to, looks like Savvy Man 420. He's got 420 in the name, so we're going to rock and roll with that. Savvy Man's getting a couple of viewers over his way from OLE, so say hello to Savvy Man as we're heading over there right now. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Really do appreciate it. As always, hope that you'll be here again. Last time, Bobby followed over on Insta. Really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much, as always, for tuning in and being an awesome person that you are. Thank you for tuning in, as always, everybody, and I will see you next Sunday for another Point of View. Take care.